Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English News. Here are the top stories of our edition tonight. The President of the Republic gave the awards, the winners of the Quran memorizations. On continental news, Europol drops a super criminal gang who stole $100 million. That were our top stories, and now let's get to the detail. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, sent his condolence because of the death of the Sultan of Tajura happened today. Inna Allah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It was And for the national event, it was in Haramus, where the private residence of the head of state, that the winners of 20th editions of the regional contest for the memorizations of the Holy Quran were received yesterday evening. This year, it's Djibouti Omar Sharmarke Ali who emerged victorious from the first group, that the reciters of the whole text of the Holy Book of Islam. The second prizes of this category of 20 chapters was given to a Kenyan participant, in this case Abdul Rahman Abdul Wahid, and the third prize of 10 chapters was given to a participant from Somaliland named Bashir Abdullahi Muhammad. And these three gifted young people of the Quran who have been received by the head of state. This contest closing ceremony was held yesterday morning at the People's Palace under the patronage of the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre. This year, through young students, some more talented than others. The President, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, warmly and kindly welcomed the young winners of the contest, to whom he presented prizes and personal gifts. The head of state and the many high public figures, including the Prime Minister and the Minister of Islamic Affairs, appreciated the vocal qualities but also the Quranic knowledge of each of the lower during the Taraweeh collective prayer. This contest, initiated in 1999 by the President of the Republic, aims to encourage young Muslims to better assimilate the precept of the Holy Quran and federate them around noble Muslim values. The Djiboutian Omar Sharmarke Ali, who won the first group of the 30 chapter, expressed his thanks and gratitude to the President of the Republic for the warm welcome. He later emphasized his willingness to continue this long journey in the services of the Book of God, calling on young Djiboutians to pay attention to the Quran, both for learning and memorization. The Director of Muslim Affairs, Mr. Al-Sali Ahmed Abdullah, expressed his satisfaction for his participation in the ceremony in honor in the first three winners of the 20th regional competition. He declared that this contest, which entered this year in his 20th years, is placed under the high patronage of the President of the Republic. He also take the opportunity to thank the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf for his organizations for the success of this competition. Finally, he congratulated the candidates who won first place in the competition, noting that the minister will continue its effort to promote this contest. The President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamad, received yesterday the courtesy visit of the waves of the corporate and senior officials of the French forces stationed in Djibouti. The President of the National Assembly welcomed and introduced his role as elected official, explaining the functioning and the National Assembly, and especially highlight the achievement in the promotions of gender. Speaking in the guest, also thanked the President of the Discovery for a place full of story and symbols. The guest visited the hemicycle of the various departments of the Parliament. Finally, the future ambassadors of the Republic of Djibouti, who number 20, photographed themselves with the President of the Assembly, who did not fail to offer them a gift of the National Assembly. Since 1969, World Telecommunication Day has been celebrated every year on Monday 7, marking the creation of the International Telecommunication Union and the signing of the first International Telegraph Convention in 1865. Like the rest of the world, the Republic of Djibouti celebrates Friday, 7th May, the World Telecommunication Day, with that theme in this year close the gap in the standardizations. The Minister of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Bahadon, made a statement on this occasion in which he said that his commemoration aimed to raise awareness of the opportunity offered by the issues of the internet and other information and communication technologies in the economic and social fields, as well as ways to reduce the digital bill. Minister of Communication Radwan Abdullahi Bahadon emphasized in his words that under the leadership of President Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, enormous efforts have been made in the field of telecommunication and ICT. The Minister of the Interior, Mr. Moomin Ahmed Sheikh, accompanied by the Secretary of State for Decentralization, Hamad Mohamed Aramis, as well as officials of his department, went yesterday to Tajura. Upon his arrival, the delegation was welcomed by the Prefect of the White City, Abdul Malik Mohamed Benoita, the President of the Regional Council, Omar Hussein, and the fourth Prefect of Randa Durra Adailu and Lake Asal, in the presence of elected officials and regional authorities. The welcome was enthusiastic and warm. Discussion with the traditional chief focused on summer to inquire about the living conditions of the population and take contacted. After the meeting, the Minister of Interior and Minister Decentralization shared a collective interest with the notable and administrative and customary authorities of the Ramadaniyat in his precepts. The ceremony of rupture of the young person saw the participations of the various personalities of the region. The Minister of Decentralization, Mr. Hamad Mohamed Aramis, say his department works in synergy with the Department of the Interior, but also with other departments, and the challenges are many to meet the expectations of the populations of the region. Why the President has drawn a roadmap to strengthen the implementation of the policy of decentralization that is one of the priorities of his government. The Secretary of State thanked the populations and the authorities of the region for the receptions of the delegations. In its part, the Minister of Interior has said that the challenges to meet are multiple, and the expectations to serve the population, especially the population of the region, and for which reason the President drew a roadmap to strengthen the implementation of the interior region. As part of his contact, the new Minister of Health, Mr. Mohamed Warsa Madiriya, went yesterday morning to the maternity of Dar al-Hanan, accompanied by Secretary General Dr. Saleh Benoita Turab and the main responsible of his department. Upon his arrival, the minister was welcomed by the Director General of Dar al-Hanan, Mrs. Zahra Musa, and the Technical Director, Dr. Wabari Fatah, as well as all the staff of the maternity ward. The Minister of Health and his delegations visited the various maternity departments, namely the neonatology service and the various operating theater, the pharmacy and the laboratory, the delivery rooms and the local hospitalizations. The minister also received yesterday the representative of the UNFPA office in Djibouti, Mrs. Aisha Ibrahim, the Secretary General, Dr. Salah Benoita Turam, and the senior official of his department attended the meeting. During this meeting, the two sides discussed the ways to work together and intensify the partnership between the Minister of Health and the UNFPA. The Minister of Health emphasized the critical importance of the UNFPA technical support in Djibouti. The Minister of Labor responsible for the reform of administrations, Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, closed his contacting tour with a visit to the National Social Security (SNSS), an institution under the authorities of the Minister of Labor. The minister was welcomed by the director Daqa Ahmed Roble and all the staff of the CNSS, who gave him a warm welcome. During the visit, he had a series of interviews with the manager of the various services in a work situations. The visit ended at the conference room where the Deputy Administrative Director, Mr. Ahmed Saeed Sultan, made a presentations on the establishment and evolutions of our social security system in honor of the new Minister of Labor. The minister, in his words of thanks, reiterated his thanks for the warm welcome he received. He recalled that the important social role of the SNSS, the professionalism observed by the staff of these institutions. Anglais High School yesterday organized a collective iftar attended by the local authorities. The prefect of Dakhil, Mr. Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, the president of the regional council, Mr. Abdurrahman Yunus Arad, the parliamentary deputies of the Dakhil, the customary chiefs, the leader, the armed forces, and of course the teacher of Dakhil High School. This joint iftar, which came as the school year was coming to an end, was an important of Dakhil High School official to thank the main partner in education for their collaboration and contribution to academic successes. The State Secretary for Youth and Sport has donated a lot of sport equipment to the Deputy Directors of 5 interior regions. This ceremony took place at the Hassan Goulet Stadium Conference Hall in the presence of Sport Director Mr. Abshir Ali Hassan and the Regional Director Mr. Yusuf Abdullah Ali. This set of equipment consists of football, basketball, wrestling, and Chevrolet balance for young people in the region. Those tournaments will be organized in Murud and in other localities. On continental news, where Europol relayed this information on Thursday, and the many victims can say thank you. The European Agency for Corruptions between all the police has led a vast operation that has led to the dismantling for the network of cybercriminals. 6 countries mainly have investigated and acted on the ground, say the management of Europol based in The Hague. The Netherlands, the suspected brain of the network of his right arm, were arrested in Georgia. A third man fell into the hands of police in Ukraine and other one in United States. Here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.